New Hampshire Republican Governor Chris Sununu remains undecided on whether he will jump into the presidential race for 2024. CBS News spoke with Sununu Wednesday and began by asking him which way he is leaning.
You know what? I don't believe in being coy. I really don't. But I'm kind of all over the place a little bit in that I'm talking to a lot of folks. There's a lot of folks that want me to get in. My mission right now is I'm a team player. I want the Republican Party to get bigger. I want to make sure we have more independents. I want to make sure there's more younger voters back on the team. We kind of disenfranchise them. I want to talk about the best parts of what we believe in, which is limited government and local control, low taxes, individual responsibility, not big government solutions. I think when we talk about that, we get people excited to get back on board. And otherwise, I think we get distracted with a lot of these other, what I would call ancillary issues, but aren't core to actually bringing this country back. So I just want to be the best team player I can, and whether that's me in the race or out of the race, I'm not sure exactly what it means. I'll probably make a decision in the next month or so, just because that's the logistics timing that a candidate would need to really make sure that they, meet all the markers, get ballot access, and make sure that they can run a truly competitive race.
Former Vice President Mike Pence recently told me he will make a decision by late June. Is it fair to say that's your time frame as well? Late June, you'll have a decision?
Oh, by late June at the latest. Yeah, you can't really go beyond late June, because ballot access itself, or making sure you have enough small donation donors, which is going to be a metric for getting on the debate stage. And if you're not on the debate stage, at least early on, that's really going to be the biggest filter, if you will. And then those barriers will get a little higher as we go deeper into the fall. And to make those barriers, you're going to have to get in a little earlier. So I think late June is the rough date for pretty much everybody.
Okay, let's say you go to Des Moines, Iowa, you get into the race this summer, and they say, Chris, who are you? What's your 1 or 2 sentence introduction to that Iowa voter who has no idea about who you are?
Well, look, I think any candidate has to go and be about themselves first, right? And what I'm trying to bring to the table is I'm the guy that's able to get stuff done no matter what hand I'm dealt. And unfortunately, if you look at former President Trump, for example, he was given Republicans in the House and Republicans in the Senate, and he still didn't give us health care reform. He still didn't drain the swamp. He still didn't secure the border, right? So I've got a record. I usually have Republicans. Sometimes I have Democrats. Either way, I always get my conservative agenda done, and we bring a very different approach in terms of how to do it, right? We don't sit there and scream at people and yell at people and only play to a base and only play to extremes. I think my team kind of approaches it the right way, what America is looking for, with a more optimistic view, and again, that record of success. I'm not just promising I might do something. I'm saying, look at my record. Look how we've been able to do it. Look how we can connect with you and your family and your business on the issues that are driving you every day, not just this fluffy policy stuff or political stunts. We really engage folks one-on-one. I love doing that. That's why I love my job. I love engaging with people.
Former President Trump having a CNN town hall in New Hampshire, coming to your state. What's your view of what that event reveals about where he is as a candidate?
Well, I got to say, I think it's a great move. I think it's a great move on his part and CNN's part. He's understanding that you don't just go to the typical conservative media outlets like a Fox or something like that. You got to talk to voters everywhere, wherever they're getting their information. And my guess is it's whether it's CNN or others, whether it's Trump or other candidates. Most other candidates can and should and will be engaging with all these different media sources, I think, as this thing progresses. So I think it's a great thing for the Republican Party, because if you want to win, if you want to be a winner, you got to engage everybody. You can't just kind of rely on a locked-in base. So strategically, I think it's a good move, but he's got to perform. He can't just get up there and play the victim card. I know he's getting a lot of press off of that right now, but he's got to explain, why didn't you drain the swamp when you said you would? Why didn't you secure the border when you said you would? And you can't go blaming other people. This is politics. Blaming somebody else for not getting your agenda done, well, that's like the Bruins blaming the Florida Panthers for beating them in 7 games the other day. You don't blame the other team because they won. That's just acknowledging that you're the loser, right? And so we want winners. We don't just want people that fight. We want people that fight and win, fight that bring results. And so he's got to explain why he wasn't able to do that the first term, what fundamentally is going to change, and how he can truly win in November. Because if he can't show that, we as a party are going to move on to another candidate.
Trump is showing up in New Hampshire, but it's not clear he is going to show up at that first debate. Should Trump be there on the debate stage?
Of course. You cannot stand in front of America and say, I'm a fighter, but I'm going to wimp out and not get on a debate stage and engage in the fight, engage in the kind of that debate that has to happen on issues and what you're about, right? You can't wimp out now. So, I mean, I think he's going to be there. I think this is a lot of talk myself. And the message is just really clear. You know, cowboy up, get in the saddle. Show us what you got. Because if you want to be the leader of this country and the leader of the free world, you got to show that you can still bring your fastball.
Do you think Trump still has his political fastball?
No, that much is clear. I mean, look, even when he comes to New Hampshire, these other events, you don't see the energy, you don't see the fire. You see him playing a victim. It's kind of the woe is me, poor me, that DA is beating up on me in New York. And guess what? I actually sympathize with him on that issue. But that does not translate into why we should vote for you again, right? So he plays that victim card. You can't be both the victimizers become the victim, the fighters become the woe is me guy. So he's trying to have it both ways, and eventually that he's going to have to kind of pick a path here. You know, you can't be all of kind of a you can't have a spectrum of phoniness. If you're going to be a phony, you got to pick your lane. And so he's going to have to try to figure that out.
Trump is on the march in many polls, continues to gain traction. Are you still confident in your statement that he will not be the Republican nominee?
No, well, yes. I mean, look, he could be the nominee. Let's be very clear. I think he's doing much better today than I thought he would be doing a few months ago. I think the DA issue in New York has drastically, pushed his polls 20 points higher than they otherwise should be. I think some of the other candidates aren't surging like I think we thought they might. So that's creating opportunity for him to galvanize an even bigger base. So I give him credit. I think he's playing his political card correct today. But at the end, we're still 8-9 months away from the first of the nation primary and over a year away from the convention. So we don't count your chickens before they hatch. I think we've all learned that game in politics. So I just think there's so much more to play out. Could he be the nominee? Yes. But my true belief is that Republicans are going to remember what happened in November of 22, remember the losses that we took with him, his candidates, and his messaging, and say, we don't want losers. We don't want losers. We're tired of losing. We're going to go after and nominate winning candidates, whether it's on the presidential side, the Senate side, the gubernatorial side. We don't want a presidential candidate that drags the rest of the ticket down. That's exactly what happened in 2018, right, when we lost the House, 2020 when we lost the presidency, 2022 when we should have had 53 or 54 U.S. senators and we're stuck with 49. We have been losing, and Trump has been the leader of the party under 3 losing campaigns, back to back to back. The only thing worse than being a 3-time loser is being a 4-time loser, and none of us want that.
Governor Chris Sununu of New Hampshire, thank you.
Thanks, Bob.